variations of chairs. All right, so let's look at the second chair, which is this one. This one looks complicated. All right. All right, so I think this is the part I introduced you to a tool. Uh, it's called Bend, right? It's called True Bend. Is it True Bend? Yeah, True Bend. All right, so let me save my work. Save my work, and I'm just gonna find models. All right, so I'll call this the dining set. All right, so when I click on True Bend, I have the ability to bend this table from different ways. If I acknowledge that, it's just gonna bend the whole thing in some interesting way. So let me see. Okay, so let me make this whole thing face this other way, or I could just change the point of origin for the edit component. This is the axis. All right, so let me make this axis orient this way. Sorry. Okay. Okay. All right. So I did that so I could change the orientation for the bend, because the bend has some stuff it's doing. All right. So it seems to be bending an interesting way. It's bending along this axis. So, but I just want to show you that if I release this and I commit that, see how it deforms the chair to make something really interesting. It's looking like those those chairs that they put in the garden, stuff like that. Really, this is beautiful. Wow. You sure I'm not gonna save this? It looks interesting anyways, but that's not what I want to achieve. So I'm just showing you the true bend so that we can apply it now in the next thing, because I'm just looking. We could create this without true bend. We could actually use arc, and then push pull this and then cut some holes through the arc, or we could use true bend. Right, so but let's begin now. I can't see the whole chair, but I can tell that it's going to have support all the way around, and it looks like it expands out, like it comes out something like so, like it comes out like. All right, but let's just begin modeling. All right, so I'll first of all import that picture to this point. So I guess I would actually divide this video into um yeah. All right, so continue with our modeling. We're modeling the second dining table chair, so just so we'll have two variations of the dining chairs. So I would hide this one. I would hide this one, so let me just go ahead and do a hide. All right, so for the next one, I would so using the same random dimension, not really random, but the same area of dimension, I'm just gonna make the base. Now, one of the things I am observing is I don't think this is totally rectangle. The sitting part, it's like it comes out in a way. So I'm going to select this part. I'm just going to push pull this up by the same 20. Then for the front part of it, okay, let me use this as the front. Okay, no, let me use this as the front. All right, I'm just going to scale this out by let me see, 0.2. All right, so this is what I think it looks like in the other end. All right, so I'm going to do this like it. Then I'm going to select that and make that a group. So it seems it enters inward. So that means I'll just continue from there. Then I can tell that there is a leg that comes from this part down. So we have the same rest length, height, which is 45, 45. So I'm just going to go ahead and draw a rectangle. Draw a rectangle. I'll call that 50 by 50. Then obviously we can see some stuff going on here. So I'll push that down because I can't see. Just remember, you own the model, all right? So because I can't see the rest of the details, I can't really tell what's going on at the top part. I can't tell if this is curved or not, but I can tell one thing, that this can't be like this. So what I do is, since I group this, all right, so I'll just model, then I'll just name those groups later. All right, so I'll cut a line through this point, then I'll push this away just to cut off this chunk of the chair. And then it's now having that, nice stuff going on there. Then for this, for the rest, I would use a different trick this time around. So I would insert this to a good point, which is this point, and I would copy that. And I'll teach you a trick. Now that I've copied it, I'll undo and I'll come out and I'll come to edit and I'll do paste in place. When you copy something in this 3D, the 3D world, and you do paste in place in any 3D software that does paste in place, you paste it at the exact coordinate from when you copied it. Even if you copied it from another file and you come into your own 3D world and you paste in place, it will paste it at the exact coordinate where it was copied from in the other document. All right. So here I can see I just pasted that piece of geometry that I copied and I undid. So I could just push this down by some length. I could push this down. So let me see, I'll do 50, push that down by 50, and there I have something going on there. But I do want to, oh my, oh, okay, that's one geometry. I need to group this. You see, these things, if I had not done that, if I had not noticed that, I would go ahead and finish modeling, and then later on I would notice that there's a problem. All right, let me paste in place again. So now this is an object, and this is a piece of geometry. All right, so I'll just push down by 50, push down by 50. Then now you can see some weirdness going on there, but that's still okay. So what I want to do is, first of all, I would like to do a clear cut through. All right, I'll do a clear cut through. Do that on all sides so that I could go ahead and I'll cut this part out as well. All right, so the idea, yeah, you notice this part is not perfectly on the green axis. If I want to follow the line, I have to look for this purple line or pink to give me the angle from whence this point started from. So I could just push that up and cut that out. I'll select this group and I'll lock that so I could delete, or no, I'll just hide that. So I could delete this geometry here. All right, I'll do the same for this point. Okay, I haven't done the line there. So I'll draw the line and then I will pull that to the very top. And I'll call this leg, and just call this leg for now so I could identify it. Then I would delete that. All right, so that's been deleted for those part. And then what I'll do here is I'll select this and I'll separate them into objects just like I did. You see, I'm using a different style of modeling here, so you can see that you're not constrained to one style of modeling. So if I do group elements, so I'll call that base support, call that base support front. All right, then I select this And okay, see, I have to cut this part through here, right? Right, so select this. Oh wow, okay, I have to cut this part through as well. All right, so that's selected. I'll right click and make component no group, and I'll call that base support side. Maybe I'll call it right side. Then I'll do the same for the other side. Do the same for the other side. Now I could choose to do the same for the other side, or I could just do something. Okay, let me show you something. Let me show you something. I think that's what I'll do. So instead of doing the same for here, I'll show you a symmetric approach. A symmetric approach, which is I just go ahead and delete all okay. Let me delete this side instead. I'll take that name, and then I'll delete this side instead. And all right, so select that, select this, and this. All right, so I forgot this part. So all right, make group. I just call it support now. Support side. All right, then this should be one object now. All right, so no, I'll clean that off, and I'll clean this off. So I can make this a group, and I'll call it support back. Then I'll bring back the leg, then I'll adjust this leg to completely match with this. All right, adjust the leg to completely match with this. So okay, let me push this till it touches here. Then I'll just draw that line again. Then I'll pull all the way down to create that extra part of the geometry. All right, so I'll just delete this. I'll clean this up. All right, now let's do that right there. All right, so we see we have a weird shaped leg going. It's not your exact rectangle. All right, that's why I like this model exercise. It helps you to know that not everything you model will be exact same shape or same size. All right, so that being said, that's that for the leg going on there. And then for this place, I would get my ruler and I would draw all the way from this point to the midpoint. All right, then I would use my push pull or scale and get this to the very middle. Okay, I can't push pull that because not a flat surface along this axis. So I'll just cut it all the way through. Okay, that line I did was not an actual. It's not this centric line. I think this is more. Wow. All right, so we have a curved looking shape going on here. So I'll just use my line tool, look for the middle, and just draw it perfectly through. All right, so I could just put my this thing there. You see, it's getting kind of technical, and I just needed to show you something like this so that you don't get so confused sometimes. I'll draw this all the way through. I'll draw this all the way through. I'll draw this all the way through. Oh, oops. All right. So I'll clean that off. Then I do the same for that. You duplicate that and slice. All right. So what I just pasted here, I just select that and I'll cut that out. Then I'll do paste in place. And once it pastes, it will cut it for me. And I'm just showing you different things. Just want you to understand that modeling can be dynamic. All right, so I'll go ahead and group this, and I'll make it component. All right, so I'll say this will be side, share side, share side support, or let me call it a C on a C chair side support. All right, so what with that now, I can just flip. I can flip with this face, duplicate it, and I flip it to the other side. All right, perfecto. Then I can turn on my seats. All right. So I just want to add one more thing. All right. So if you notice, you see this chair has some, style going on there. So I just want to do something like this. Um, let me do this. 20. All right. No, 20 is much. Let me do this by 5. No, let me do 10. All right. So I'll use that as a guide point. That's a guide point. Then I would just erase that. Then I would draw an arc. I'll draw an arc. Right, and I'll push pull that. You get the point. So I'm trying to add some style to it. Then I'll take this line, I'll copy that, then I'll come into my leg, and then I'll paste that right on the leg. Let me just drop that here. I'll just drop that here, and I'll take that, put it right here, and move it down that point. Then I'll push pull that all through down. All right. So remember, I made it a mirrored object, so it will reflect on the other side. All right. So part of this modeling is to show you things. All right. Don't worry about this line you're seeing there. It won't show on your rendering. All right. I told you red lines don't show on renders. What shows is faces. All right. So with that, you can see we have some nice looking shape going on there. All right. So what follows the next now is the lower leg. This leg seems to be really slim. So now I'm just going to go into this place, and what I'll do is I'll take this, I'll copy that, and I'll paste it in place outside. Paste in place, and I'll move it down. And the reason I did copy instead of to just draw a shape and push pull is because this is slanted. So if I were to push pull, I would have some problems. So I just copied it so that I don't have to, go through that stress. So I just pushed it up by 40. And what I want to do now is make it as slim as this. So I'll just check. This is the whole as 50. So I'll take out 15 from here, and I'll take out 15 from this side. From this side, and if I use my rectangle, okay, now I can't use rectangle because it's slanted. So if I use my line tool there and get this line to this point, I could just push pull this and chop it off. Pull that, chop it off. All right, like that. I have my legs coming in, and I'll just push pull it on the axis till it gets to. Okay, now there's another tool I'll show you now, and that is the free joint push pull, and I'm just going to pick that up as an extension. All right, so in this particular video, I'm just going to put the link to the extensions I'm using so that you can easily download them and have them installed. Right, so maybe I'll just do another video that explains how you can install the extensions, but some extensions you can just easily get them by going to extension warehouse. Some you have to download some things. I think I'll just make a separate video for that before the modeling video continues. All right, so with this tool, I'll just use my normal push pull. Normal push pull, we push pull it according to, okay, no, not that one. Let me see. Paste, push pull. Mm, like it's going along. All right. We push pull it along that line. So I'll just aim there. All right. So he pushed it along with the face that was coming out. You know, the other push pull, if I use the other push pull, it's creating another, it's trying to push it totally vertical to the y-axis, but this other one allows me to push it out, not uh, with its own face, along its own face. I think that's what the normal push pull does as well. You know, the normal push pull just goes along the actual axis. All right. So that being said, I've push pulled this to this point, and what we need now, just one more component to complete this chair, and that will be the backrest. All right. So so when we look at this backrest, we could tell that, okay, first of all, the total height is going to be what's that thing again? That's 100. All right. So I'm just going to put some point somewhere and drag it up to 100 centimeters. All right. So that's that right there. So one of the things we could do is to model it flat and then use the true bend, or we could model it and then push pull it as an arc. So you could do that, and you are not limited to one style. All right. So what I want to do is I want to actually stand this up. I want to stand it up so I could see without having to bend my screen. So I'll just do this since that's the angle I'm modeling from. All right. So now, if we just carefully analyze this, we can tell that it's just like a rectangle that bends just so slightly. All right, so let me go ahead and get that out. So if I want to do that, I could start by doing something like this. I push this up to the height. Let me just ensure all my elements are grouped. All right, so I'll just bring this to this point. Just bring this to this point, and then all right, so I'll push this, let's see, about 30. All right, then now I could just group this. Now I'm only using this as a reference. All right, so I know the total height and I know the total shape. So what I want now is this thickness, let's just say it's 50 or 30. Let's do 40. Let's do 40. All right, so it starts from this point and then ends at this point, but it bends backwards. So what we could do is, let me draw a rectangle, right, like so, and then um, in the middle of the rectangle, I'm just going to draw the middle. I'll put a line here. Then I will take this point, the top point, and the bottom point, and then I'll move them. The move tool, just to create this bend. All right, so I'll move it by 30. 30 seems fair enough, or let's do 45. Like, let's give it that real bend, give it that real bend. Now with what I've drawn, I could just come and complete it with an arc. Right, so like a I could use an arc like so, and I just group this one so that it doesn't interfere with the arc. So I use the 2-point arc. So I draw there and I put to this point, then I gauge it to that point. I draw here, I put it to this point, and then I gauge it to this point. All right, so I've done that arc, and then I can just use my line tool and close it up. Sorry, hold on. I think I made the arc from this point to this point, then to that point. All right, so I have this selected. I'll turn that off, and I'll use this line and put there. All right, put that right there. All right, goes all the way through. Then I close this right here. All right, so that's now from the face that I could now push pull all the way through, all the way through, all the way through, all the way through, all the way through. All right, I could now extend by extra 30. So you can see how that works out. Yeah, that works out. All right, so what's left now is the whole bend going on in with the whole striping. All right, now that could be challenging. All right, so let's just reason that out. So first of all, I will undo all that, and then what I'll do is I'll break it into points. So if this goes all the way through to that point at what length, that's 465 plus 30, that's 495. So let me just do this by by 100. Then I didn't by 100. I'll just go ahead and delete this. Or just let me turn it off now because I don't need it. All right, that's the first chunk. All right, so what I'll do now is for this part, if you notice there's like a seam here showing that this is another piece of wood. Yeah, so what I'll do here is that thickness could be like, let me see, what thickness could that be? Let's do 80, or let's take it at that point. All right, so from this point we'll just draw a line all through. Then I would triple click that. I'll make this a group first, and I come pick this up. Now I'm doing all this live, so you see that there's no like a perfect way to do everything. There are different things and different ways you could go ahead. So I can push pull this all the way through, and let me take that back by I'll put it in the middle, right? So I'm putting it in the middle because I want to do half and then mirror the rest to the other side, all right? So that being there in the middle, and then I could do the same thing for this guy. So I take my tool to that point again, and then I just throw it out like so. Oh, sorry. In the line, I draw it out like so. I draw it directly perpetual. I can draw it up to the angle, but I'm just going to draw it directly like that. And then I'll copy that, come outside, and I'll paste that somewhere. I'll just put that there. All right, then I'll push pull it to the very middle again. All right, so I have the top part and the bottom part done out. So what I could look is there are approximately like how many pieces of wood? One, two, three, four. Right, so there are four woods coming out. So I just need to put two here. All right, so I group this, I make group, and then I make this a group. So I just need like two pieces of wood coming right out from here. So if I select this, I just draw a line from this point and to this point. Then I draw a line from this point to this point. So I can pick this face and copy that, bring it out, and I'll paste it in place outside of the group so I can just push pull it. All right, but before I do that, let me measure the distance because I need it to be 2 in this part. So this is 140. So this is the middle. Now if I even if space them out, this part being mirrored might not work. So I need the total here. So 140 times 2 would be 280. 140 times 2 would be 280. So if I use my calculator, see, you know, so 280 divided by 4, and that's 70. All right, so the middle is actually 70. All right, so let's do this first. Let me bring it there, and then I'll move this to this point. All right, so what will be the thickness? Let me pull it out and see. Let's do 30 as thickness. All right, so we'll have that first part, and then I make that a group. Then I'll just move that again move it by 70, or maybe not. All right, so that's like so. So, but I need to have some space between here, because by the time I group this, I select this and make it a component. I say this is backrest, backrest, or support, chair, C chair, backrest, or support. I make that a component, and I flip. I use my flip tool to flip it along that face with a control to make it a duplicate. You can see what it's looking like already. So you can tell that there is no space between this and this. So that's why I want to pick these two things. And let me just see. This space from here to here is 40, from here to here is 40. So I want to remove 20 from each, so that I can have, so I'll move that by 20. All right. All right, that's perfect. That's just perfect. All right. So we can see that we just have to push pull this guy till it joins. So we can't push him with a normal push pull. So we use the face push pull from the joint stuff, and push that till it gets to this face, and it's in there. All right. So like that, we have modeled two chairs. All right. That's two chairs modeled, right? So you can see a lot of cut and join going on there. So that's just to show you there is no one way to model things. There's no one way to model things. All right. So now that it's one object, I can decide. Sorry, I've not made it a single chair. Right? So I'll select all this, and let me delete the guides, and then I could just make this a component. I'll call it dining chair 2. All right. So that being said, I've done 2 dining chairs, and they're just pretty much beautiful. So I could just go ahead and add my usual stuff in the middle, so that I could have a reference point for it. Let me just take this. All right, so I'll do this. I'll just draw a straight line, then draw that from there, and then I'll draw this from there. All right, so my circle, which is like a rectangle, I'll draw that 100. Then I draw my lines. All right, then I select those faces and delete them. All right, so like that, I have this going on there. All right, so that's that for this chair. Then what's left now to conclude this part of the training is the table. All right, so in this part, we would start modeling the table. We'll model the table so that we could complete our dining set. We'll model the table to complete our dining set. So I will be dividing this video, recorded as one video, but I'll divide it into 3. So the first chair, the second chair, and then the dining table. All right, so the 2 chairs are actually more complicated than the the dining table. So all right, so remember those things I created. I'm just going to select them and get rid of them now. We're going to get rid of that.